some days you're gonna win. He says some days you're gonna lose. I tell you, I got news for you. You're losing all the time, you never win. No. If you believe that's how it's gonna be, I better put you down. Get up, you take your up, you come down on the ground. You gotta save me now. You better turn around. And I looked around.
We are almost to Friday, 9:06. It is the first day of May, and it's a rainy one out there. 63 degrees. We got a good show, though, for you. For the next 2 hours, we're going to be joined here in a couple of minutes by Christina Foster. Foster's Light in the Dark. She'll be filling us in on her second annual chicken dinner fundraiser for that great organization, and then Ameren's going to join us at 10:35, and we're going to learn a little bit more from Ameren, Illinois today. Always love talking to those guys and having them in the studio. Just a great guest always. Oh, man, but I just can't wake up today. Before I do news, is anyone else just like kind of feeling like they could have slept for about 14 days? Man, I was ready to do it. Hey, before I take you to top of the hour news, make sure you guys download the RiverBender.com app. Really looking good right now on the Apple and Google Play Store, and always a great way to never miss out on those push notifications, breaking news alerts, weather alerts, and so much more. You can also join us on around the Riverbend and the 70,000 people that are truly in the know each and every day of the work week, and even on Saturdays, with your daily dose of local and national and statewide news, all there in that email. We'll take you to Alton first. Two men from Alton, Reginald Hodges Jr., 28 years of age, and Devin Luster, 23, have been charged with mob action after allegedly attacking a victim at a local grocery store on March the 14th. Now, the incident occurred at the Save-A-Lot on Homer Adams Parkway, where both men are accused of striking the same individual multiple times. They were charged on April the 25th with Class 4 felony counts and have since been released pre-trial. Authorities also emphasized that all accused individuals are presumed innocent until proven guilty. Christopher Huck, 29 years of age, of Wood River, is facing a second domestic battery charge involving the same victim while still on probation for a previous offense. The latest incident occurred on April the 19th when Hutch allegedly struck a family member in the face with his fist and knee, resulting in visible injuries, including dried blood and defensive wounds. Huck pled guilty to similar charges in 2024 and was sentenced to 24 months of probation. Following the new charges, he remains in jail pending his initial court appearance. Anderson Hospital has once again been recognized by Newsweek as one of the world's best for 2025, marking the fourth year in a row. It has earned the prestigious honor, ranking 250 out of 410 U.S. hospitals, and one of only 21 in Illinois make the list. Anderson Hospital represents the top 4% nationwide. Additional accolades include the Patient Experience Award and above average rating for infection prevention from CMS. And a full write-up on the awards and honors on RiverBender.com/news. Air Methods has provided an update on its Arch 1 team's condition following that training accident near the Hartford Fire Station on Monday, April the 28th. Here's what we know. The Medevac Support Organization, which partners with EMS and hospitals to save lives, reported that 2 of 3 crew members involved have been discharged from the hospital. 1 crew member remains hospitalized in stable condition and is making progress. That's good to hear. The crash occurred during exercises with the Hartford Fire Department. Air Methods reaffirmed its commitment to supporting the affected team members throughout their recovery and thanked the community for their ongoing thoughts and prayers. Further details about the incident remain undisclosed at this time. A large fire erupted early Tuesday morning at the Meridian apartment complex in Glen Carbon, a 36-unit development still under construction. Fire officials, led by Glen Carbon Fire Chief Jason Whitaker, investigating lightning as a primary cause, citing storms in the area at the time of the fire. The blaze reported just before 4 a.m. and was contained to a single building within the complex. Mutual aid from nearby departments helped firefighters quickly control the fire and protect adjacent structures. Officials stressed safety as a top priority during the response as the investigation continues. Finally, in the news today, SIUE recently celebrated its most successful one-day, one SIUE event to date, raising an unprecedented $2.8 million. Chancellor James T. Miner led the event's exciting countdown along the SIUE cheer and dance team with over 2,300 donors, including alumni, local employers, and staff contributing to surpass the $2.5 million goal. The Raceway-themed celebration featured live music, engaging student-led fundraising challenges, and major gift presentations totaling hundreds of thousands of dollars for scholarships and programs across various departments. A full write-up again on RiverBender.com/news. Let's take a look at weather. It's 9:12, and man, it's kind of chilly out there today. 63 degrees, and it feels like it. Humidity at 93%. Today, clouds will break for some sun, then a couple of showers and a thunderstorm as we head into the afternoon. Tonight, a thunderstorm in spots early this evening, and then it will start to clear up as the night rolls on into Friday. Right now, air quality is at 27, which is good. Mold is low. Ragweed and tree levels are moderate, so take a Claritin. And the UV index, they're going to say it's high today. Temperatures reach 72 degrees and drop down to 52 overnight with more storms predicted. And then they added Friday, Saturday, we are going to see rain and thunderstorms. On Friday, a high of 68, a low of 51 degrees. And they're calling for partly sunny morning with thunderstorm and spots in the afternoon. However, the storms will give away Friday night, and you'll have a clear evening for your first Friday event up in Troy. On Saturday, we'll see some passing morning showers, and then the afternoon will break up and have a beautiful one for Mac's Downtown Kentucky Derby Party and the one at 1818 Chop House if you can't make it down here to Alton. On Sunday, a high of 60, a low of 48 on that 4th day of May, and then on Cinco de Mayo, Party Day, the 5th day of May, a high of 66 and a low of 48 as we're starting that first week of May off with some kind of chilly weather. If you ask me, I'm ready for 80s, but I also get cold whenever it's 72 degrees outside. That's a look at the next 5 days. Here's what's happening now. 63 degrees. It feels like 63 out there. For time and temperature throughout the day, 618-465-4545. This time powered by Bounce Back, Rehab, Recover, and Return Home. You can also stay up to date in real time all the time by texting RB to 618-202-4618. That's RB to 618-202-4618 to sign up for those instant weather updates, or once again, just download that RiverBender.com app. Hey, while I have you, let me fill you in on my friends at Centerstone. So bummed we had that technical difficulty during our interview yesterday. It's always great to hear more about their substance use disorder treatment and crisis stabilization units. That's what we were going to be focusing on. But you've heard me talk about it for over a year now. With Centerstone, they're a national leader in mental health and substance use disorder treatment for people of all ages, but it doesn't start and end just there. I mean, they have a Rolodex, a comprehensive web of services and programs for every aspect of our lives. They're not just a regional provider, they're also here nationwide, and I think it's great that they use these evidence-based practices in their treatment programs, meaning that the plan is developed for you. It's tailor-made based on the latest science. Whether or not you're looking to go to Centerstone because of some substance use disorder treatment services, or you're needing something else from Centerstone, like their Lion program, the ROAR program for individuals and children that are going through autism. All those things are available at Centerstone, and they have such a great team to take care of you. So I highly encourage you to hang out with Centerstone and myself on the first and last Wednesday of each and every month. And you can also gather this information because you never know when you're going to need to use it. It's always great to have just in case of emergencies. Centerstone.org. Don't forget to tell them that you know who sent you over their way to find out more about their comprehensive services and to learn more about why they are just that national leader. We'll take a quick break, and we'll come back with more Daily Show. Hopefully my allergies get better, man. I'm suffering today. Downtown Alton, commercial break, more show, in that order, next.
Every morning there's a heartache hanging from the corner of my girlfriend's four-post bed. I know it's not mine.
I got in the car accident at the ER. They gave me a prescription of hydrocodone, and over time it took more medication to mask the pain. I moved over to drug seeking and found heroin and fentanyl. I went to the Centerstone rehab facility, and it was the best decision I ever made in my life. I have my own car, I have a job, there's nothing holding me back anymore.
Do you need to declutter your space? Time to call me, the Queen of Junk. Since 1993, we have grown to be the leader in residential, commercial, and property management junk removal. At Sparks Junk Removal, we are eco-friendly. We recycle, donate, or repurpose items back into our community. Trash is our last resort to the landfill. Plus, with our all-inclusive service, our crews handle everything from labor to lifting and landfill fees. Give us a call or visit our website, sparksjunkremoval.net, to reclaim your space today.
When you need a project done right, on budget and on time, trust Gillahan Concrete. Gillahan handles every kind of project, big and small. Commercial, industrial, residential, from room additions and garages to patios, driveways, and more. Gillahan brings quality and experience to every job. Family owned with over 30 years of service to our community. Call today at 618-781-3914 or visit GillahanConcrete.com.
Looking for the best barbecue in Madison County? Head over to Carver's Barbecue in Godfrey, Illinois. From loaded barbecue nachos to mouth-watering pulled pork, brisket, ribs, and more, Carver's serves up award-winning flavors you'll love. Family-owned, Carver's is all about fresh-made in-house dishes served daily. Come visit us at 2716 Groveland in Godfrey, or give us a call at 618-467-9999. Order online, get it catered, or stop by for the best smoked meats around. Where great flavors meet family tradition, you'll find Carver's Barbecue.
Have a rash, pink eye, or urinary tract infection and need care now? OSF On-Call Urgent Care is here to treat you. Start a virtual visit 24/7, whenever and wherever you need it. It's just that easy. osfoncall.org/virtual visit.
You're listening to Our Daily Show with CJ Nasello on RiverBender.com.
Running down to the riptide, taken away to the dark side. I wanna be your left-hand man. I love you when you're singing that song, and I got a lump in my throat 'cause you're gonna sing the words wrong. Is this movie that I think you like? This guy decides to quit his job.
Welcome back. 9:18. We're going to hang out just to make sure Christina's not running a little bit late this morning. Hey, while I have you, though, something just came across the wire here that wanted to make sure you all were aware on. This is submitted from Good Energy, Steve Bryant, press release to RiverBender.com. The Riverbend area communities have renewed their municipal electricity aggregation program with Homefield Energy. This program, which was previously approved by referendums by voters in each community. The communities include the Village of Godfrey, Bethalto, Roxana, South Roxana, East Alton, Hartford, Alton, and Wood River. The primary goal of the communities is to keep the residents from experiencing volatility in supply rates as well as spikes in energy markets. The new rate for Riverbend communities will range from 0.1197 to 0.1207 per kilowatt hour and will be a fully fixed rate from June 2025 to May 2026. As expected, generation capacity for the region impacted the rate substantially, and with the capacity being a pass-through component of the supply. The expected capacity cost will have a similar impact to Ameren's rates as well. Residents should keep in mind the rates shown on Ameren's website as well as Plug-in Illinois do not reflect the new capacity rates, as those rates are scheduled to change June 1st. Might as well ask them while they're here later on today. The results of the capacity planning resource auction were made public on April the 29th and showed while the region has adequate generation, the summer period has a much higher demand, which results in those higher costs to consumers. The higher cost in capacity is the result in the inability to replace the generation lost due to the recent coal-burning generation plant closures, along with the increased demand put on the capacity by larger consumers like AI data centers. Unfortunately, renewable energy sources have not been able to replace the cost of those demands. So just a little bit of a note on that. And if you want to opt out of the program or you have questions about it, they're asking that you call 833-200-98 833-200-9834, or you can go to homefieldenergy.com/opt-out. That, once again, is 833-200-9834. That's 833-200-9834. Or you can also just go to the Homefield Energy website. That's homefieldenergy.com/opt-out. You know, it's one of those things that, especially doing the show as long as I have now, I mean, we're going close to year 3 and 4, and that's like a green mile when it comes to shows like this. But it's really fascinating that this aggregation program, I mean, it always comes back in the news cycle just because that's just the way the world works. And to be honest with you, I still really don't know if it benefits me or not, you know, and or if it really, you know, is that good of, or if I should really stay in the program. I know it's always a debate on Facebook. I always scroll through and see people saying they've opted out and here's why they've done it. And I'm just curious why, you know, maybe I have to learn more about that on an interview coming up soon. But Ameren will be on the show a little bit later on, and it's always exciting to talk to Ameren and see more about what they're doing to keep us all safe and keep us, you know, in power too. So real quick, while I have you, wanted to give you a brief update while we're still kind of hanging out for Christina. The village of Maryville is going to host their second annual Maryville Music Fest this weekend. Dawn and I were talking about this on the show just a couple of days ago. From 1 to 10 p.m. on Saturday, May 3rd, community members are invited to Fireman's Park. Remember, I kept pronouncing the park name wrong for about a year and a half. Don't worry about that now. In Maryville, for a day of live music, food, trucks, and fun, there will be 10 bands playing on 2 stages throughout the day. Tickets to the event cost just $20. Kids ages 12 and under are free, and proceeds go to Build Maryville to build a permanent entertainment pavilion and stage at the park. The event itself is cash only, and there will be food trucks again on site, as well as beer and soda available for purchase. The music will range from rock to folk and everything in between. The list of bands includes Sailing, Barnstormers, Sweet Bottom, and Grand Pagano, and so much more. You can buy tickets online or the day of at Fireman's Park. For more information about Build Maryville presents Maryville Music Fest, you can visit the official event page, which we linked on the RiverBender.com article. So wanted to fill you in on those two things, as I was just running out of gas during top of the hour news. While I have you, let me fill you in on one of our friends, and that friend is Carver's Barbecue. You know, I was just looking on Facebook, and it looks like that sauce is getting bottled, and that's going to be pretty exciting. You know, Carver's always has some of the best sauces around, and what I think's great, too, it's not just that, it's the quality of their meat and the way they cook it. You know, listen, every one of us is a good barbecue critic. We've all been to those gatherings where you're like, all right, dump out that Sweet Baby Ray's for everything that's holy, and please don't give me that again. Maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm just a tough critic. I don't know. All I know is that I like good barbecue, and Carver's has it. You know, with Mother's Day coming up literally in just a couple of weeks, start your gift buy-in, folks. Or if you have that, you know, graduation party, you have the Memorial Day celebrations coming down the pipeline, 4th of July, you name it, you're going to need some type of large amount of food. I mean, you're going to have people over at your house. Why are you cooking? I mean, that's seriously what I keep telling people. Why are you doing this to yourself? You're going to spend 6 hours out there on the grill, or maybe you're in the kitchen cooking it up, when Carver's can just do it for you and get it done right. You'll have everyone happy in that home. You know what I think's great too is the way that they do it. It's so easy just to lay everything out. You just pick it up once you're done. There's no mess when you clean it up, and everything's affordable. You know what I think's great is my family's been doing this for Christmases and holidays, and we haven't looked back. I mean, I remember the days whenever, you know, family members started cooking, and you kind of just put your hard hat on and got out of the door as quickly as you could and just went along your day, just because, you know, a lot of energy in kitchens sometimes, and now you don't have to worry about it because Carver's does it for you. Award-winning barbecue done right in Godfrey. Stop by today for lunch. You can place your orders online, or you can, you know, just go in with $20, put it into one of their slot machines, win $150, and your lunch is paid for there too. You can go learn more at carversbbq.com. That's carversbbq.com, and don't forget to stop by and see them over there in Groveland and Godfrey, and tell them that CJ sent you over their way.
Has free checking become a thing of the past? Not if Liberty has anything to say about it. With 3 free personal checking options and even a free business checking account, free is alive and well at Liberty Bank. The local bank that gives you free checking choices and more cashing in your pocket. Bank locally, bank Liberty. For more information, visit www.bankliberty.com.
Macias Insurance Agency, providing quality products with extremely competitive prices. As an independent provider, we source multiple companies to offer the best rates possible, covering auto, home, business, and life insurance. Our goal is to provide quality service that meets and exceeds customer expectations. You can rest easy knowing the Macias team is working round the clock to ensure that both you and the most important parts of your life are covered. Our qualified professionals make the insurance process easy so you can live carefree and focus on what matters most. Visit MaciasInsuranceAgency.com today to find out what our team can do for you.
No matter the season, Play It Again Sports in Edwardsville has the gear the athletes need to get in the game. Whether you're shopping for the newest sports equipment or saving money on quality used gear, Play It Again Sports carries what you need to maximize performance to get the most out of every swing, kick, stroke, or shot. We'll even buy your used goods, paying cash on the spot. We carry all the gear for all the sports all year long. We're your hometown sporting goods store. Play It Again Sports, conveniently located at 4 Club Center Court in Edwardsville.
You're listening to Our Daily Show with CJ Nasello on RiverBender.com.
Welcome back to our daily show. 10:16, little bit of change. Wednesday morning continues on this 23rd day of April. Mayor Goins back in studio right after the re-election and the victory and a 3-person race. You had a pretty good result that night on Tuesday. How was it like just to be a part of it with the group? Because it seemed like everyone was having fun and it was a good time to be a part of that watch party.
Yes, it was. It was great, and we worked hard, and my congratulations on a great campaign for my 2 opponents, but we were blessed to come out on top, and so it's a blessing.
Absolutely. And as going forward, we there's so many things that are being worked on right now within the city, and so many projects that are being talked about. And now, after just a couple of hours ago, former Director Parsons joins us in the studio too. And Director Parsons, it's been a busy 4 years for you guys over there at the Public Works Department, and
it has.
I'm really excited to have you in the studio to talk about some of the work that you've been able to achieve and accomplish. And, let's just kind of dive right into that. Take me through day one as Public Works Director.
Rough. It was a challenge. Again, the mayor took a risk. He took a political risk, and I reminded him of that on several occasions, that I walked into the office without any type of public work experience. I had the 35 years with the department. I started as a grade 5, which is the lowest department, and then for a while I was animal control. I was the chief of that, which one of my favorite jobs. And then, of course, to be asked at the last 4 years of my career. But here's what I did, and it's a story that I tell, but it's a true story. He just asked me, would you do me 2 things? I told him I didn't have all this experience, but he said, would you do these 2 things? Would you be honest, and would you work as hard as you can? And I told him, for those 2 things, sir, I can do that. Mm-hmm. And so once we got into the department, and because I was in the department so long, I knew we needed equipment. I knew that for decades we have not had trucks and pavers and other pieces of equipment, new street sweepers and those. So I went to work. And I wanted to train the guys. So the guys got a lot of training. We got a lot of equipment. And then we went to work. And so in 21, we didn't put down as many streets. But after that, once the money started coming in with ARPA, we went to work.
Absolutely. And, and Take Me Through was one of those first bigger projects, and we'll talk about equipment here in a second, because I'm interested to hear more about equipment, because there was a lot purchased. And in that first project, do you remember what it was by chance, and just what that role was like being in the directorship?
It was Bloomer Drive. It was North Rogers. It was those big streets that have been in bad shape for a while. Mm-hmm. And then we had a list. I had a list. I went over with the mayor, and one of those streets also was Union Street between Liberty and Central. It had been bad for decades. Potholes, it was concrete, it was everything, and we just went to work. Yeah. And the Teamsters, the guys that we have, again, great set of guys. But what they needed was equipment and direction. And once we got, the direction was, let's put down as many streets as we can, because the city is in bad shape. But it's been in bad shape way before Mayor Goins' administration got in. So we just went to work on the worst streets we had. And then I went to the alder people and said, give me your worst three. And that started the ball rolling, So we just kind of went to work, and we accomplished a lot in 3.5 years.
Well, and I think Public Works Director is, between that being the mayor and being the police chief, those are the three, I think, more scrutinized positions, or one of the most highly looked after positions and under the microscope. And sometimes you hear, why is this taking a little bit too long? You hear about grant funding and who secured what and when did it go, and I just want to know about the process a little bit when it comes to actually fixing streets, because I think sometimes as citizens and residents, we don't understand, what that timeline looks like, for your office. What's that look like? Let's say, hey, because I don't really live on a street. This is a problem. I actually wanted to ask you about the alleys too, and all some of the issues going on there. But with roads, let's say I'm on Elm Street, the road's tore up, and it's a problem.
That's the road we fixed.
That's what I'm saying.
Right. You picked the right street.
And so that's exactly why. So I call you, or I call my alder person.
Yes.
What's that process look like afterwards? What's that timeline look like, from the city standpoint?
That is a great question. It all comes down to money.
Okay.
It all comes down to money. Elm Street was one of those that we got a lot of complaints on. And so we decided that from Albee all the way to the Central Bridge, we were going to replace it. Now, it had been bad for a while. Mm-hmm. Also, it had bricks underneath. So that was another whole thing.
Right.
Where we're going to go back historic and put it back brick, which would have cost the city a fortune. So we talked with the alderman in that area, and we decided asphalt. So basically, you're talking, we go out, we measure that out. We see how many trucks we're going to need. And so everything comes down to, I think on Elm Street, I wish I had my figures in front of me, but in Elm Street, you're talking close to $100,000 and material and those kind of things, plus manpower.
Now, does SMS get involved in that process?
They do. They do in our MFT, the streets
MFT.
that we do with them.
Okay.
Yeah. But our MFT fund, motor fuel tax, it's a whole different thing. That's the one that SMS will come in and they'll do all the measurements. Okay. On some of the other streets, particularly those that were some of the older people gave me, which was Elm Street was one of them, we just go in, we measure out, and we do it.
Really interesting. And so with that too, is always contacting the alder person the best step forward for reporting?
Alder person or our office. And that's what we were talking about that.
Because they always call mine.
Yeah.
Right.
Don't call the mayor's office. Call Public Works or talk with your alder people.
You wouldn't call your brain surgeon for a heart attack, and I hate, but that's really, I think sometimes we call places and think that's where we need to be going, and that's just, it's the wrong direction, and you can save yourself time.
And here's the thing. If you call your alder person, you call Public Works, and of course, and this is very important. Public Works has a work order system, so everybody that calls in and leaves a street, leaves an alley, leaves a sidewalk, leaves a tree that's fallen over, whatever, that goes in the database. So then that alder person or that citizen can call back and say, hey, I called in April, nothing's happened this May. We can go back and see what the issue is. You see what I'm saying? If you call his office first, then he has to call our office.
Right.
No.
Well, and I think that's such a big point, though. It's just being informed on, some of those proper communication channels, too.
Absolutely.
Another thing I wanted to ask you about, because I know that, during the last 4 years, you were getting all this, there was new equipment coming in. Yeah. Was there a street sweeper that was purchased?
Yeah. Yes.
And then there was also some lawn cutting equipment you were looking at, right?
We have, for the first time, the city of Alton, well, let's backstory. We have side of roads that are right away.
Right.
They're so steep that we literally had guys falling off the lawnmowers trying to cut.
I'm sure, especially Albee, I could see that.
Especially Albee, and then also Humbert Road as you go out toward the okay. So we went, and again, it was Nate Chartrand, you know, our forestry supervisor, but he came to me with these ideas about these remote control lawnmowers. I'm like, Nate, are you kidding? City of Alton, remote control. So anyway, I went to Debbie, our comptroller, and I said, Debbie, come out to this demo. I want you to see this. And when that tractor, literally, it tracked itself with like tank tires, treads, and it didn't slip one time. And it cut. We let it go high, and it cut it like it was nothing. I said, we're getting one. And so I convinced her, talked to the mayor, of course. I had to call the boss.
Yeah, that's right.
And say, listen, I know this is a risk, but if you just let me try it, you know. So we did, and they saw the wisdom in buying one, and now we use that thing a lot.
And, you know, and see, that's what I think is interesting, too, is because I think sometimes we forget what type of landscape we have in just our terrain, because we have an interesting section of region right here with all these bluffs and hills, and then you might have a couple of, you know, miles of flat, you know, town square, but that's about it. And other regions or municipalities around here, they just have the flat town square, so it's a lot easier to maintain and take care of the roads and the weeds and all that.
Absolutely.
It's unique.
It's unique. Yeah. Not to mention the brick roads, right?
So what complications do they bring into a prospective project for bid or you know, reconstruction?
Expensive.
Really?
Expensive.
Wow.
The city of Alton has 2 guys that we have just for brick streets, just to repair. And they will be repairing brick streets for the next 50 years. Wow. That's how many brick streets we have and how many are in repair and need repair.
That's interesting.
It is. I mean, it's one of those things where if you're in a certain neighborhood, they don't want asphalt.
Right.
And I'm with them. I am. But the maintenance of them, but once we get them, here's the great thing about brick streets. Once you get them right, they stay right for a long time, for decades.
Oh, well, see, that's really good to know, too.
Yeah. Once you can get the sub base and everything together, they're good.
Well, and before we take our break and come back with more of this conversation, one of the projects I wanted to ask you about is one that was really talked about, the Riverview Wall. Yeah. And I know that, you know, that's one that was discussed. It seemed like every time you went to bed, it was like Godfrey's comprehensive plan. Alton had the Riverview Wall, you know. And I wanted to know just some of the challenges or some of the project, if we could kind of just tease this a little bit, and we'll come back with more after the break. But just take me through an overview of what that project experience was like for you.
That project was one of the mayor's biggest complaints when he took over. And my inexperience with engineering and other things was one of those things where, and I say it a lot, that I was the mayor's weakest link as far as his department heads, was because he was thrown that Riverview Wall project, and I was thrown the Riverview Wall project. And so a lot of the criticisms were focused at me, that I didn't know how to fix it, that we had lost the funding, which was not true, that we were not working with FEMA, that was not true. And so I was on a constant call with the mayor, but then it was very interesting. Riverview Wall was such a unique project for Alton, so we did rely on SMS, our engineers. And I've learned this a long time ago. My mother taught me this. If you don't know, then you go find somebody that does know, and then you shut up and let them do their job. And so the wisdom of that was me sitting in meetings with SMS, Justin Klein-Smith, and others, and listening, and then coming up with a comprehensive plan. Absolutely. And that's what we did.
Well, and see, Mayor, I think that's what's really important to know, too. And it's really interesting to see how your team kind of, the inner workings are, and just some of the passion that's there, too. And I think that's good for the public to see as you're entering your second term. And, you know, whomever assumes the public works director role now, that you're going to be, are you a golfer?
No.
Uh-oh.
I drive the cart for my son.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go. You still got some time on the golf course then when you retire.
That's right.
But Mayor Goins, you know, just what's your thought before we take this break about having Director Parsons on the team for the last 4 years, and just you know, some of the relationship you guys had?
Well, you know, even though he says he was the weakest link, you know, he was the least experienced, but he came highly recommended. And so, you know, it's one of those things, you took a leap of faith. And, you know, when we first got in, and like I told him, you know, you just work hard and be honest. And that's the thing. You know, you were there, and you've been in public works, and so you've seen how maybe you weren't in the directorship, but you were there over 30 years. And so you have some experience. It's not like we took you out of Park and Rec and put you in. You were in public works for 30 years, and you ran snowplows. You knew how the wall, if in the case of a flood, you knew how that he worked on that,
right?
And so he had all of that knowledge, he had all that experience, and so it was just a matter of just growing. And he continued to grow. He went to grant writing classes, learned how to write grants.
Really cool.
And he dove in. I remember going to SMS and saying, hey, and I remember contacting FEMA right off the bat and saying, here, I'm the new elected mayor, and and then connecting FEMA with Mike, and then going down to SMS and connecting SMS with Mike, and they began to put their heads together, and what they said we messed up was not true, and the end result is that we were able to hire a company out of Colorado, GSI, and they came in, and the city of Alton actually received an award for that wall.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
Yes, we did. I had to go to Chicago for him because he was busy with other things. And he asked me, could you go to Chicago and receive our award for review wall? I said, are you kidding? I'm there yesterday. I'm driving. I didn't even take the train. I drove up, So, and that was awesome because, again, when he started that project, all the criticism, but at the end, you work hard, you keep your head down, you don't criticize, you just go to work.
Well, and see, I think it's just really interesting, too, just to see the passion there, too, and just see some of the energy and really just, how this decision was made and really just to hear some of the work being done. Yeah. We have more of this conversation left, and I hope you hang out here with us. 74 degrees. I'm getting ready to leave work early today, Mayor. I'm telling you what. Oh, I don't know if you can do that, but I think I can. I got some vacation time left. I'm going to go play golf. 10:30 on the nose. We'll come back with more of this conversation right after this. On RiverBender.com, get over here, and Roku TV.
Has free checking become a thing of the past? Not if Liberty has anything to say about it. With 3 free personal checking options and even a free business checking account, free is alive and well at Liberty Bank, the local bank that gives you free checking choices and more cashing in your pocket. Bank locally, bank Liberty. For more information, visit www.bankliberty.com.
Macias Insurance Agency, providing quality products with extremely competitive prices. As an independent provider, we source multiple companies to offer the best rates possible, covering auto, home, business, and life insurance. Our goal is to provide quality service that meets and exceeds customer expectations. You can rest easy knowing the Macias team is working round the clock to ensure that both you and the most important parts of your life are covered. Our qualified professionals make the insurance process easy so you can live carefree and focus on what matters most. Visit MaciasInsuranceAgency.com today to find out what our team can do for you.
No matter the season, Play It Again Sports in Edwardsville has the gear the athletes need to get in the game. Whether you're shopping for the newest sports equipment or saving money on quality used gear, Play It Again Sports carries what you need to maximize performance to get the most out of every swing, kick, stroke, or shot. We'll even buy your used goods, paying cash on the spot. We carry all the gear for all the sports all year long. We're your hometown sporting goods store. Play It Again Sports, conveniently located at 4 Club Center Court in Edwardsville.
You're listening to Our Daily Show with CJ Nasello on RiverBender.com.
But I ain't got wings
to our daily show. 10:33 Wednesday morning continues with Mayor Goins and former Director of Public Works, Mike Parsons. You know, any plans for retirement?
Travel.
Really?
I'm going to travel for about 60 days.
No kidding.
I'm going to be in and out of the country. I'm going to do a lot of things that we wanted to do, and then I'm going to, as my wife says, I'm going to find something else to do. But for the first 60, nothing but travel.
I love it. Now, I heard when you retire, you just work for free.
Yeah.
Okay. You know, as we're going back and just touching on Riverview real quick in this conversation, there was a recent mudslide right in that vicinity, wasn't there? Just about, 2 months ago?
Yes.
You know, take me through what can the public kind of expect with that? Because to me, you know, and this isn't, I hope it doesn't sound rude to the audience. Right. It's just, I mean, it's where the terrain is, unfortunately. You're on a bluff, and it's steep, and it's rainy, and there's tree stumps and dead foliage. You know, what is there any thought to what the city could even try to do to help, I guess, slow that process down?
That is a great question. The same company that helped us with the Riverview Wall is looking at putting in stakes along, in particular, the place and the areas that are closer to Abbott Machine Shop, right?
Gotcha.
So we want to try to help them as much as possible, but you're right. It is bluffs, and our rains have been torrential. So it's going to continue to happen. We're just going to try to mitigate as much as we can. So we're working with SMS on that as well.
Well, and on top of that, too, I was really curious to know, and just because, I mean, you never have a 100-foot sinkhole in an administration normally in the Rolodex card. What was just your reaction to that, and what's the Public Works role, you know, in that initial response? Because I know it happens at Gordon Moore Park, and, you know, we all think Park and Recs Department, but is there anything Public Works had to kind of do to help, you know, assist to navigate that, or...
When that happened, Mike Haynes was still director here. Jesse, our fire chief, and myself, we just went into get the public safe mode. So we really did, Public Works and the fire department and parks. We went together, and what we did, we just barricade off everything. We knew that it was going to continue to happen. We called SMS in. We called geospectral people in as well, so they could do drone, you know, footage of the area. But what that basically was, it is parks. It's really not Public Works, but we have helped out. That's the way that the department heads work under this administration. We absolutely just call in the team, and the team just does whatever we have to do.
We work together. And
we work together.
But there is a plan in place. That's the basic I could speak of. But there is a plan in place to address the sinkhole and the subsidence, the mine subsidence. There is a plan in place, and can't speak to it any more than that, but
we're making progress.
We're making progress.
Yes. Well, and see, now that's it. And so could the public, you know, could we expect to hear more about this in the next couple of weeks?
Yes.
Wow. Well, there you go today. How about that for your gift on a Wednesday? That's it. Well, and see, it's very important, though, because, you know, when you're in, this is what I find so fascinating about how the local consolidated elections work, because, I mean, you're running and you have to manage a sinkhole. You're also running for re-election, and you have to keep these conversations going regardless of what the outcome is. Absolutely. And, I mean, I'm sure that's a major challenge, especially when you do have, you know, the sinkhole and you're trying to figure out how do you even manage one of these, you know?
Somebody asked me a question about, well, there's water in the sinkhole. I was like, well, water accumulates anywhere there's a hole.
I'm not trying to let you right. Well,
I mean, it's been raining, so yeah. I mean, it'll eventually evaporate. You know.
That is so true. And here's another thing that this administration did. When that hole happened, we were invited to go down to the mine to look at the hole from the bottom up.
Oh, yeah.
So we did. Public Works did that.
Oh, I didn't know you did.
Oh, yeah. And it was something to see. The blessing of this whole thing,
I'll show you.
if there is a blessing, was that it did not happen when the kids were playing soccer that day, because it was bad. I have never seen anything like that in my life. It was unbelievable.
Well, and see, that's such an important note, too, because, I mean, it really was, you know, thank goodness nobody was out there, and it happened as early as it did, because there would have been a major problem.
And it was raining that day. It had rained that night, too, so.
Well, and on top of the sinkhole, and you got Riverview walls, flood, or the Riverview wall, you got construction and infrastructure work, plus the work on the Beltline and some of the other things that were, continuing or being developed too. I wanted to ask about the floods because you were a part of Public Works, throughout all of this. We kind of got lucky the last 4 years and didn't have the major flood, but you still have to prepare for those, I'm assuming.
That's called prayer, sir.
We prayed.
That's a good answer.
I wanted to go into a fast. I was like, okay, I'm going to do a ritual fast. Father, please, no flooding while I am Public Works Director. Please, and while he's there. Again,
prayer changes things.
It is so true. I mean, I would get up and drive the River Road, and I would just look at it and go, Father, please, no. And so, yeah, but again, meetings, department heads, we're all together, you have to prepare. You have to be ready just in case.
Well, and as we're kind of keeping this going, is there one or two projects that you'd like to talk about that maybe the public should know too? Because I wanted to wrap up with with IDOT and some of the different road work that's done, because I think that's such an important conversation to have. But are there two projects, one or two, that you'd like to talk a little bit more about?
Yep, there's three.
There we go.
Milton Road is being done. People were complaining about the roads going down Milton. That is being done, as you know, because the traffic's being rerouted.
Yeah.
State Street is being done now. That is as well. Now that's an IDOT/city project, right?
Okay.
So curb ramps will be done, some sidewalks will be done on both those projects. And then one of the streets that the mayor talked about is we're still looking at Fosterburg Road, that area after what we did. And again, the road by the golf course on Fosterburg Road got so many complaints. And so that was done in-house by Public Works. The next phase is going from Harris Lane to under 255, because it's a problem.
That is a big
we
problem.
Patch it, we do all thing.
It's actually an IDOT, but
we do the maintenance.
But IDOT gave it to us, and so we have to deal with it.
So that's going to be done. So those three projects are really, and then we have other projects that we promised certain alder people that we were going to get those done. And like you mentioned earlier about, with it being an election, I still put everything in place to make sure those roads are done, regardless of who was going to win, because the mayor said he wanted them done, so we did it.
Well, and see, that's the other thing, because, whenever Election Day came, I put out a little bit of an op-ed where it's like, we're a community. We aren't going to achieve this city on the hill idea if we are doing this as individuals. So we have to work as a team and move forward, and I think that's so important. And, Mayor Goins, before we finish on just some of the different type of road projects, what are some of the things that we can look forward to, here in the city of Alton that you'd like to kind of share with us if we have the time?
Well, we're excited about, number one, our comprehensive plan. We want to move the city forward. Mm-hmm. And the comprehensive plan hasn't been done for 20 years. Now, the comprehensive plan will provide a vision for the next 20 years for the city. We're also working with our Planning Assistance to States program with the Army Corps of Engineers and our Great Streets Phase 1 implementation plan. All of those things are in the works, but I'm especially excited about our comprehensive plan, because this is when we bring one of the biggest proponents of a comprehensive plan is community engagement.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
From kids all the way up to adults, from businesses to churches. Everybody can take a part. And then when this comprehensive plan, because that's where ordinance is changing. That's where zoning where different things are implemented. People have been talking to me about the tiny houses. That's something that we can talk about in the comprehensive plan. If that's something where we can put our vacant, fill in our vacant lots and things like that. And so those things are in the works. And so we're excited about that, and we're always looking for prospective new businesses to come in. That's a whole nother process about how businesses come in, because it takes anywhere from the time that it could take up to 2-3 years for the time that talks began to groundbreaking. it can take up to 3 years.
I would love to have Director Caffey on at one point in time too, or I don't know, is he still at your business, or who, and yourself too, and let's talk about because you guys, that would be an interesting thing.
We can definitely, because Andy Yancey is one. Has done our, and maybe we can bring her in too.
That would
to talk
be cool.
About the comprehensive plan.
And see, Mara, and that's why I'm really excited just to kind of get a taste of what's to come, because the more we can have these conversations too, and just talk about things that are going on, I think it helps the public kind of learn a little bit more too, and especially we're in April. You're retired, and there's a lot of fun happening in downtown Alton and all throughout the city too. So we can be at these events, and that's what it's all about.
We got
too.
The wedge opened up, and that's exciting.
Yeah.
With the potential that could bring as far as jobs concerned, and things like that. And so and there's other exciting things that I just can't talk about.
We got to tease them right now. That's what we call that just a tease of what's to come. Well, and Director Parsons, one final thought, and this is on the different types of projects, because we talked about the MFT, the motor fuel taxes projects, IDOT's certain projects within the city, and then the city's projects funded through itself. How do those what are the different takeaways, and what should the public know about, how can we identify, if it's, a problem that we have to contact IDOT over because they're managing the project, or is it always going to run through Public Works?
Always going to run through Public Works.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. I can give you a perfect idea, because Homer Adams Parkway is a state road.
Right.
And my first, in the first year, they came and they paved. They resurfaced.
Yeah.
They resurfaced that. They resurfaced 140 College out. And what happened was, especially on the Beltline, Homer Adams, they started kind of late, and so they weren't able to put their final layer of asphalt on. And so there was so when you turned off, like going to the mall or turned off any business, you hit this little lip, because it wasn't always smooth, because they hadn't put their final, and they said they were going to pick it up in the spring. I got phone call after phone call after phone call, people saying, when you guys going to fix, this road? I said, ma'am, you have to call IDOT, or sir, you have to call IDOT. But I gave them the answer. I said, they're planning on, they had to stop because the weather was starting to turn cool, and they're going to come back in the spring and put the final layer down, or like Broadway, a lot of people don't know Broadway's a state road. There's portions of Broadway that's a state road.
Well, and see, that's what I think so interesting about that too, is because of the fact that there is that discrepancy of what's IDOT, what people don't understand sometimes, that there are so many different types of roads that are owned by the state and then by you guys
and the wonderful staff at Public
and county
Works.
Roads too.
Yeah, we got Call Public Works; they will let you know which one is IDOT or which one is city.
So, and this is just one final question, and because it was brought up a couple of times on the show, and then just a few out. Alton has a different alleyway system than most cities, and I know that the city doesn't really. You guys don't really manage the alleyways, correct? Do you?
Oh, yes, we do.
Oh, do you?
Oh, in the winter months, we were plowing alleys.
Not plowing, but for infrastructure improvement.
We do, because a lot of alleys, there's the only way people can access the garage.
So that's where I'm at right now, because I was wanting to look into this, and I contacted, my older person, and then the trash company was kind of involved, because they have to, that's the only way they pick up trash there, and so I was just curious from a personal thing, just how it worked or what that process looks like.
Give us a call.
There
Give
you
us
go.
A call.
If it'll work for me, it could work for you too. That's what I...
Exactly.
What's your final takeaway of this conversation before we say goodbye for now?
I just want to congratulate Mike on the wonderful career at the Public Works and the wonderful job that he did the last 4 years as the Public Works Director. And I wish him well in his future endeavors. And thank you for your hard work, and thank you for your dedication, and thank you for your faith.
I like to say thank the mayor for taking that political risk. And but again, I've been asked what's going to happen after 60 days, and I'm keeping options open. But my whole thing, and I talked to the guys this morning before I left Public Works, I am always going to be fighting for and working with to make sure that the city goes forward. We just want to go forward. Alton's a wonderful city.
Well, and seriously, thank you so much for stopping by. And this has been a great conversation. I can't wait to have more conversations with the mayor's office. And, well, if you're out walking around a day and deciding how to stop in and see CJ, you're more than welcome to, too. Enjoy your retirement. Seriously, well earned. That's a lot of hard work for the city. Before we take a quick break, we do have breaking news. Dick Durbin will not seek re-election. He will be...
Has free checking become a thing of the past? Not if Liberty has anything to say about it. With 3 free personal checking options and even a free business checking account, free is alive and well at Liberty Bank, the local bank that gives you free checking choices and more cashing in your pocket. Bank locally, bank Liberty. For more information, visit www.bankliberty.com.
Macias Insurance Agency, providing quality products with extremely competitive prices. As an independent provider, we source multiple companies to offer the best rates possible. Covering auto, home, business, and life insurance, our goal is to provide quality service that meets and exceeds customer expectations. You can rest easy knowing the Macias team is working round the clock to ensure that both you and the most important parts of your life are covered. Our qualified professionals make the insurance process easy so you can live carefree and focus on what matters most. Visit MaciasInsuranceAgency.com today to find out what our team can do for you.
No matter the season, Played Against Sports in Edwardsville has the gear the athletes need to get in the game. Whether you're shopping for the newest sports
accident at the ER, they gave me a prescription of hydrocodone, and over time, it took more medication to mask the pain. I moved over to drug seeking and found heroin and fentanyl. I went to the Centerstone rehab facility, and it was the best decision I ever made in my life. I have my own car, I have a job, there's nothing holding me back anymore.
Do you need to declutter your space? Time to call me, the Queen of Junk. Since 1993, we have grown to be the leader in residential, commercial, and property management junk removal. At Sparks Junk Removal, we are eco-friendly. We recycle, donate, or repurpose items back into our community. Trash is our last resort to the landfill. Plus, with our all-inclusive service, our crews handle everything from labor to lifting and landfill fees. Give us a call or visit our website, sparksjunkremoval.net, to reclaim your space today.
When you need a project done right, on budget and on time, trust Gillahan Concrete. Gillahan handles every kind of project, big and small. Commercial, industrial, residential, from room additions and garages to patios, driveways, and more. Gillahan brings quality and experience to every job. Family owned with over 30 years of service to our community. Call today at 618-781-3914 or visit GillahanConcrete.com.
Looking for the best barbecue in Madison County? Head over to Carver's Barbecue in Godfrey, Illinois. From loaded barbecue nachos to mouth-watering pulled pork, brisket, ribs, and more, Carver's serves up award-winning flavors you'll love. Family-owned, Carver's is all about fresh, made in-house dishes served daily. Come visit us at 2716 Groveland in Godfrey, or give us a call at 618-467-9999. Order online, get it catered, or stop by for the best smoked meats around. Where great flavors meet family tradition, you'll find Carver's Barbecue.
Have a rash, pink eye, or urinary tract infection and need care now? OSF On-Call Urgent Care is here to treat you. Start a virtual visit 24/7, whenever and wherever you need it. It's just that easy. OSFOnCall.org/virtual visit.
You're listening to Our Daily Show with CJ Nasello on RiverBender.com.
Welcome back. 10:05, a little bit of change on this first day of May. Back with Christina Foster. Foster's Light in the Dark. How are you doing?
I'm doing good.
Here, let me pull that microphone over closer to you. So, we've talked, what was it, a year ago?
Yeah.
And how has everything been since that year?
A lot of good stuff. A lot of good stuff.
Well, fill me in on it, because I've seen your name popping up in Foster's Light in the Dark and various, posts and just different media, and it seems like you really have been rocking and rolling this year.
Yeah, it's only by the grace of God. But, yeah. So after we had our last fundraiser last year, we raised enough money to start a website.
Really cool.
Yes. We have a memorial wall now for suicide and drug overdose victims, but we also held a candlelight vigil at Russell Commons Park on August 31st. We memorialized over 100 people.
Wow.
And we had 200 years of clean time show up and leave the community with that hope shot that we do recover.
That's honestly incredible. And I'm on your website now, and if folks are interested to look at that memorial wall, it's available, or to, submit their own entries too. And it's really, eye-opening to see how many, different aspects of life those folks, came from too, that are on that wall.
And, the sad part is we don't think about how our addiction affects the people around us until we had to memorialize a baby.
Oh.
I guess the baby was if I'm not mistaken, 16 months old. And because, they had gotten a hold of a bag, or they had touched something that had fentanyl on it and they died. That is an indirect death of our decisions. And that, was hard for me. It really was. But that opened my eyes to have a place in our memorial park for people that weren't addicts, that did lose their life to, drugs.
That's such an interesting component of that too. And really it's a nice addition that you've made to that wall, and really just something I couldn't imagine being a part of and being present at too. That's got to be so tough.
Yeah, I mean, we got to remember that our decisions has a ripple effect, good or bad. But yeah, it was really, oh man, it was earth-shattering for me to have that realization that there are kids out there that have died because of indirect result of our decision.
100%. And, it seems like, too, and like I said, this website you guys have is really nice, and you guys can find it at fosterslightinthedark.org. That's fosterslightinthedark.org. They are really liking Centerstone today. It keeps changing it back over. Fosterslightinthedark.org, and really just a great way to get involved as well, and to support and to volunteer, too.
Yes, of course.
Well, and now you have a couple of other events. We're going to start talking about the chicken dinner fundraiser here in a second, but you already have your summer pretty much planned out. August 31st, you're going to be taking part of Overdose Awareness Day again at Russell Commons Park, just right down the road.
Yes, we are on the International Drug Overdose Awareness event page. So our event is already posted there. Last year, we had people that came from all over because they found our event. They wanted to do something to honor their loved one that was lost, and they showed up.
Mm-hmm.
And after we went through the names on the list that we had the mic open, and they were able to come up and say names. Yes, we are having that, and it's going to be a little longer this year. It's going to be from 4 to 8.
Good.
And we're going to have Chief Ford from the Alton Police Department is going to come speak. We're going to also team up with Williams Family Dove Release,
They're
and we're
great
going to
people.
release doves this year.
Really cool.
Yes.
He's a great guy, by the way.
I know. I met them. They are so good. Such good people. Really good.
Well, and I like too, I mean, that you're really, you know, taking all aspects of this too whenever you're looking into this event and you're putting this on. And because, you know, so many times I think as, you know, public, we might not know that individual if something happens and, you know, we don't realize the world that was around them and, you know, their families and loved ones. And I could only imagine that that's a great opportunity for folks that maybe felt like not like they couldn't, but maybe awkward about, you know, doing something, to have a place where everyone comes together to do it. That's pretty special.
Yeah, it was really moving. The interesting part was we had reached out and tried to get the bridge to light purple.
Mm-hmm.
And the city of Alton said yes, but the Illinois Department of Transportation said no. But it was Memorial Weekend, so they lit the bridge red, white, and blue.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of our candlelight, the sky was purple.
Oh,
and
wow.
we got pictures. God showed up and said, I trump your no. It was amazing. It was so spiritual. Like, you could really tell that it was a good thing. It was a good healing moment for them.
100%. And another, you know, healing moment will be the Suicide Prevention Awareness Month event, which is again down at that same location in 4 to 8 p.m. on September the 13th. Now, take me through this. What can we expect?
Okay, this is going to be a really good one for me because this is our first suicide. Last year, everything was just chaotic. We were trying to put together our very first candlelight. This year, my family's going to show up and memorialize my three brothers in a positive way.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and we're also going to team up with Williams Dove Release on that event as well. We are having Dave Glover from KMOX is going to come speak. He lost a brother. We're going to have music because my first brother, actually, today is his birthday.
Oh, wow.
Happy
birthday.
Timmy. Yeah. And so we're going to have, at his funeral, they played acoustic Stairway to Heaven. It's the most beautiful, you know, they didn't sing. It was in a church. It was beautiful. We're going to have somebody from Springfield come play that.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's really cool. Well, and I know that last time we talked, you know, and hearing your story, you know, whenever we initially had our conversation, to hear that full circle moment and to know that you're able to finally have that positive memorialization, that's got to be huge for you and your family.
It is. It is. You know, because I got to remember that they're grieving too. And if they could they've never been a part of Foster's Light in the Dark. And if they're actually going to get to see what it's about. I know I'm going to cry. The healing.
Well, and I honestly, you know, for your journey too, Christina, because I mean, you've done a lot to get to yourself, you know, into the point that you're at now, you know, and it's a lot of hard work and a lot of faith and a lot of, you know, just,
my recovery program, working steps.
And I mean, you've to be, you know, at this point now though, no, I'd be crying too, because I mean, you've really put in that work and it's been a long journey for you, and to have your family around to kind of see the work that you're doing and that end result, that's got to be something that you can't put a price tag on.
No, and I just want them to know that through my brother's deaths, that this beautiful thing has been created, and we can help others. Just the biggest thing for me has been to lay it down and not blame myself anymore for them dying. That because of my recovery program and the life that I live today, I'm able to be able to realize that it wasn't my fault, that my brothers are in heaven not wanting me to carry that. And I really hope they get that freedom that I have. I mean, does it bother me? Well, yeah, because I'm human, but I don't have to be like, oh, if I would have done this, they would have lived, you know.
Right.
I get to put that down and realize that, you know, I've been there where they were, and it was a decision made in the heat of the moment, you know.
Well, and honestly, you know, so many people too, you know, always have that, you know, cross to bear, and it seems like it's such a healthy way for you to realize that, and I hope it really does go that same way for their family.
I really do too. I hope if the community can see that, you know, our loved ones, yeah, they died, but they're on the other side wanting us to live a life that they never got to.
Right.
And that's how we can memorialize them.
Well, and honestly, I just think it's such a great thing to do, and really for so many people that have gone down that path or know of someone or have that family member, it's a great day on Overdose Awareness Day as well, the 31st, but also for suicide prevention and the ones that did have that circumstance. It's a great way to be a part of this, and really in a group that's known, without knowing each other, if that makes sense.
Right. And we, like, in 2024 and 2025, it's all about building connections with community, like the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention, Glow for Hope does their things. We're building these connections with Centerstone and Ameren and Sacred Spaces of Care and all these. We're building good alliances because in 2026, that's when we want to set into fundraisers to raise the money for the land.
Yeah.
But without it, we got to do it together. We can't do it on our own.
No.
We got to come together.
Well, and just like, for so many of these things that we're talking about today, like addiction and mental health awareness and you can't do it alone either. You need a team around you, and it's really it really does kind of showcase what you guys are all about too. And before we take our break and come back with Christina in the studio, you have a chance to support all of this by being a part of the Chicken Dinner fundraiser, and we're going to come back and talk all about that. But I wanted to start with those two bigger ones first, so that way the public had a chance to really see what you're doing this year, because you're putting in the work, and every time I hear your story, it's really inspiring, and thank you so much for always doing that too.
I appreciate you. I can't do it without my board either. They're amazing.
There you go. Always good to get the board members in.
Yes.
We'll take a quick break. On Sunday, May the 4th, we'll come back and talk about this one. The Chicken Dinner fundraiser, 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. at the Moose Lodge in Edwardsville. That's 7371 Marine Road. I know that address so much, and I've never been to that building. We'll come back right with more after this.
Has free checking become a thing of the past? Not if Liberty has anything to say about it. With 3 free personal checking options and even a free business checking account, free is alive and well at Liberty Bank, the local bank that gives you free checking choices and more cashing in your pocket. Bank locally, bank Liberty. For more information, visit www.bankliberty.com.
Macias Insurance Agency, providing quality products with extremely competitive prices. As an independent provider, we source multiple companies to offer the best rates possible, covering auto, home, business, and life insurance. Our goal is to provide quality service that meets and exceeds customer expectations. You can rest easy knowing the Macias team is working round the clock to ensure that both you and the most important parts of your life are covered. Our qualified professionals make the insurance process easy so you can live carefree and focus on what matters most. Visit MaciasInsuranceAgency.com today to find out what our team can do for you.
No matter the season, Played Again Sports in Edwardsville has the gear the athletes need to get in the game. Whether you're shopping for the newest sports equipment or saving money on quality used gear, Played Again Sports carries what you need to maximize performance to get the most out of every swing, kick, stroke, or shot. We'll even buy your used goods, paying cash on the spot. We carry all the gear for all the sports all year long. We're your hometown sporting goods store. Play It Again Sports, conveniently located at 4 Club Center Court in Edwardsville.
You're listening to Our Daily Show with CJ Nasello on RiverBender.com.
That's why they call me.
10:18, welcome back to this first day. I'm telling you, they really like Centerstone today. Welcome back to this first day of May. Back with Christina Foster, Foster's Light in the Dark, their second annual chicken dinner fundraiser coming down the pipeline in just couple of days. We're here. We're in May, and you're getting closer and closer to your Overdose Awareness Day event and the Suicide Prevention Awareness Month event as well. And you guys can support that by being a part of this fundraiser. It's really nice. I mean, $14 per adult, $7 for kids 12 and under, and it includes fried chicken, the mashed potatoes and gravy, your green beans, and corn and salad. Man, you're giving them the whole kitchen sink.
They are.
Well, so how does this work? You guys going to be on hand that day too, or?
Yeah, we will help serve the food, and we will help clean up. We'll set up the tables, and we get a portion of the proceeds for the dinner. But then we have people donate and baked goods, and we get 100% of that.
Wow.
And then we just have, you don't have to eat in, you can carry out. And yeah, that's just a good way for everybody to come together, learn about our mission and what we're about, and, get together and eat some good food.
There you go. Is their food pretty good?
Oh, it's amazing.
Now, how'd the first year go?
It went really well. They said that other than a child, fundraiser that we brought in the most people, our recovery family shows up in a big way.
I love it. That's awesome.
And with that money, we were able to put together the website.
That's really cool. And that's what I think it's so cool, though, is folks can actually see how they're directly supporting this and really affecting you guys in a great way.
Yes.
Well, and now this year with the funds, what are some of these funds going to go to?
Well, this year we're going to use that to help with the other events, but we're also right now trying to put together sponsor packets so we can get people to sponsor our candlelight vigils, so we can make shirts, and have memorabilia for them to remember this by.
This is really cool. And I also like on your website, too, just because I was going through the support option, which you guys can see by going to fosterslightinthedark.org, is the fact that you guys have all these resources, too, on your website for folks that, I'm guaranteeing you 90% of the people clicking on your website won't know all of them.
Right. And those are the people that we partner up with.
I love it.
Yeah, and me being in recovery, my journey's different than everybody else's, but these are other avenues. We all go down our own avenue.
Well, and see, that's why I think your organization's doing so many great things, is because you're lived experience, and
yes.
I think that with your board, how many are on your board, by the way?
There's 5 of us.
Oh, wow!
And 4 of us are recovering addicts,
and
4 of us, and 5 of us have experienced a suicide.
Wow!
And all of us know somebody that has died from drug overdose.
Well, and see, I think, it's one of those things where I hate to hear that, obviously, because we never want to hear of anyone's, untimely death for any circumstance. But it's really good to know that, the things that you're doing are all from, truly, because you can't really understand it unless you live it. You know what I'm saying? And
exactly.
I think it really showcases with how well that you're really, weaving with these different organizations and what your mission truly is.
Right. Like my sister-in-law, this is healing for her. She, of course, isn't an addict, but her husband died by suicide.
Right.
So she has that lived experience from a wife's point of view.
Right.
And she can help people, and that in the end, once we get the park up, which is later on down the road, I would also like to start something for people that are grieving and how to help them let go.
Right. And that's, I think, so important too, because like I said, to have these events where you can really be around people that truly are going through similar things, not because it's never the same, but it's always somewhat similar, in some circumstance that you can connect with in some way, shape, or form that you're never going to connect with to anybody else, truly,
right.
And whenever you hold these events, what are some of your takeaways just by, seeing the crowd, seeing the families, hearing their testimonials? What are the takeaways from it?
Well, this last one, the very first one, because of course I'm an addict. So my thinking is, you should have said this, you should have did this. I'm not seeing I'm seeing what I should have done.
Mm-hmm.
So my takeaway, it was beautiful because I had so many people coming up and hugging me after saying, thank you for not forgetting our loved one. Thank you for holding this event. It was healing.
Mm-hmm.
I got to memorialize them in a positive way rather than, so like to me, it was like, wow, it is helping people.
Right.
And it, because I try to run on God's will, not mine. And he just showed up in a major way and lined everything out perfectly. Even though I was going through it and not really knowing what I was doing, it all came together.
Right. Well, and I think too, it's really great to see how well it's grown because this mission, there's nothing that's more personally close to somebody than you and your organization's mission.
Right.
And to see it, in just a year since talking to you though, the growth that you're experiencing and then just seeing the collaboration, you definitely have somebody on your side. That's for sure.
And it's amazing because my board, like, they are just like all in, and like you got to have that. We got to come together, and then it shows the love in the community, how we try to bring everybody together and do this together.
Right on. And going forward, we're going to wrap up talking about your fundraiser again. But going forward, what should the public know just about the next, couple of months for Foster's Light in the Dark, and how can we support you?
You could support us by like sharing our events on Facebook or word of mouth or showing up, or like if you really have a loved one that you just want to come memorialize, you don't have to put their name out there. Just come light a candle in silence.
Right.
But as long as, we're being supported by the community with open arms like we have been, we can continue to grow.
100%. And Christina, before I let you go, fill me in on this chicken dinner fundraiser. What time do we show up? Can we place orders ahead of time?
Yeah. What you could do is 11 to 3, we will be there. And you can show up and get a dinner, or you can call in and place a dinner and have carry out.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, we get part of the proceeds. And if you have any donations for desserts, bring them before 11. We'll put them on the table, and there's not going to be a set, just any donation, you can get anything.
Really cool.
We're not trying to just, nobody's turned away.
I love it.
And
what time? 11 a.m. to 3 p.m.?
Yes.
And that's over there at the Edwardsville Moose Lodge. That's 7371 Marine Road in Edwardsville. $14 for adults, $7 for children that are 12 and under. And this all goes back to Foster's Light in the Dark. And Christina, as always, thank you so much for stopping by.
Thank you for having me again.
Oh, never a problem. You're welcome anytime to come back on and fill us in a little bit more.
That.
We'll take a quick break. We're going to come back and with a little bit of a tape conversation. Then we'll go into Ameren, Illinois on this first day of May. It's Thursday. We are almost here. We're almost here. We're almost here. And we'll be back with more after this. Welcome back to our daily show, 9:08. Only slightly behind schedule today. My hair's already falling. We got a busy show today. 7 guests coming down the pipeline today. Dr. Ashley Evanson. I did this right?
Yes.
Oh, God, I was nervous because I even told you I was ready. I had the whole pronunciation that was just wrong, ready to go.
Yeah. Most people say Evanson, so thank you.
Well, and you're over at Multi Care Specialist, correct? And
yes.
You're the president and owner?
Yes, I am. Yes.
How long have you had the office?
I've had the office for 6 years.
Oh, wow.
It was started by my father in 1988. And so, yeah, I purchased it from him with my business partner, Dr. Brooks, and we've been at it 6 years.
Well, how are the 6 years been going for you?
Well, it was hard because 2019, we got about 6 months in and then COVID hit.
Right.
So, like, we went through quite a lot our first 2 years, you know.
Well, and that's a lot to go because it's a little bit different. I mean, every business and industry was affected, but when you're in healthcare and you're working with folks, I could only imagine, especially when you're brand new into the into the chapter book here to do this.
Yeah, and every week there was new guideline changes. It was tough. It was really tough, but we made it. And in many ways where I feel like we're stronger because of going through those growing pains.
And you don't have any gray hair on you, so you got through it pretty good.
My hairstylist to thank for that.
Well, last year you did a multi-care market up in your office, correct?
Yes.
And how did it turn out?
It was amazing. I really was blown away. We had patients like showing up right when the doors opened, just banging down the doors. And then like it was so crowded. You could barely move. It was wonderful. It was more than I could have ever imagined.
Well, and you were talking before we came on and did the interview in the segment that, I mean, there really is, and I agree with you, to have something that really is like this in the Granite City area is such a needed really thing right now.
Yeah, I mean, there is no local farmers market in Granite City at all.
That's surprising to me.
Me too. Yes. They do have some like vendor events.
Right.
I've noticed they're trying, the mayor's doing an excellent job in trying to really progress the city. But there's nothing like bringing a farmer's market, bringing quality food. That's the huge lack in my town, is the fact that it's nothing but chain food restaurants, fast food and fried food.
Right.
And it's just, it's sad. So, many people don't even know where to get local good ingredients, unprocessed food, sustainably sourced, and regenerative farming. And it's just really important.
Well, it is. And there's, the national conversation that continues to happen right now over the red dyes and, what type of processing is happening with our meat supply and all that. It's so important. And that's why you have to, I still think the more we can go to grass-fed and locally produced and sourced material, whether it's meat or dairy or produce, it's a good day, you know?
I mean, amen. You hit the nail on the head. It's all about no processed food, whole foods, and ingredients matter.
How many times when a patient comes in or someone that you encounter, does their diet play a very large part into some of the issues that they're going through?
I mean, I would say it is 75, 80%.
Really?
It's really... It's a huge role. I mean, 6 out of 10 people, adult Americans, and have at least one chronic disease. 6 out of 10.
Wow.
It's scary.
That's a huge number of people.
It's alarming. Yep. And that doesn't happen in Europe. That doesn't. And so what's the difference? What we are putting in our bodies. They have way more strict regulations on food dyes, pesticides, herbicides that we don't have here. It's the Wild Wild West. We're eating lab meat.
Right. I mean, you're right.
Yeah.
Well, and see, I think it's so important though, because sometimes we always talk about habits and addictions, in an unhealthy way, because that's what they should be talked about. But I think sometimes eating healthy becomes an addiction. You have to kind of treat it like that. It takes a few weeks to, understand that this is the right way to do it. It might take months, but the more that we can keep having these products around, makes it easier.
Makes it easier.
Yeah.
What you put in your body, if you put less inflammation in your body produces less.
You're right. It's not fun, but it's so many times I can only imagine.
It's that simple.
You're talking to a patient and they're like, oh, yeah. That makes sense.
These foods cause inflammation in your body. These make your cells healthier. These make your cells unhealthy. It's that simple, aside from, it does get more complicated than that. But, so my goal is to bring these resources to my community.
Well, and too, the younger you are to kind of start that process of eating healthy and doing the right things for your body, I mean, the longer you're going to see those results and that success. I kick myself every day when I miss my vitamins now.
Yeah.
Not even funny about it, because you can feel the difference. And the mental aspect of it too, the mental health aspect is so important when it comes to healthy food and good food choices.
Yeah, I mean, they're heavily studying metabolic health and the brain.
Yeah.
From psychiatric disease to just depression, everything. I mean, it really... Food affects everything.
Well, and when you're putting this together, because, we were talking a little bit before the segment about, it's like the Tower Grove, and you got some of these massive farmers markets, and those vendors are like booked up almost like right away.
Yeah.
How'd you find all of these folks to come on in?
Well, luckily, I handpicked everyone that I genuinely use myself.
Really?
Yes. Oakley Rose Farms, I exclusively buy beef from them. They're regenerative farming, so it is the highest form of farming practices that you could possibly have. Not only grass-fed and finished, but they reuse the soil, which is healthier for the cows, for the environment, and for humans. So that's an example. So I started with them. Like, I had a few in mind that I'm like, they have to be there. And they said yes. And they're so sweet. And they're coming back again. And everyone that I invited, for the most part, came. And
that's awesome.
And they wanted to do it again, which just meant the world to me.
Well, the multi-care market, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Making sure.
I know, it's a mouthful.
It's going to be May the 3rd. What time does it start?
May the 2nd.
Oh. Is that Saturday?
No, it's Friday night.
Oh, that's what I did wrong. I thought it was Saturday for you. I changed the date on you.
That's all right. May 2nd from 4 to 7 p.m.
Oh, I like that. See, because I'm not an early riser on a weekend or even Friday. If I have to work, it's like I have to go to work. So to have something in the afternoon for everybody, that's cool.
Yeah, and like Saturday is a huge market day everywhere.
That's true.
So,
that's true.
I had to choose either a weeknight, which I did the first time, which worked out, or a Friday night. So we're trying it different this time, and I hope we have a great turnout.
You're going to. This is going to turn out well. And now, what can folks expect? How does the layout look? What's the process look like? And what can we kind of FAQs for the audience?
FAQs. So I feel like the number one thing that people raved about is farm truck. It is a farm-to-table food truck that will be outside. Everyone swears they have and I agree, they have the best burgers. And so farm truck will be there outside along with a few vendors outside. You'll walk inside, you'll be greeted by my staff. You will get the first 100 people get a multi-care market canvas bag.
Oh, cool.
So cute. And I think the first 50 people we're going to give a free mug too. So get there early. Get there early. There's incentive. You will be handed a welcome drink from us, and you will be handed a passport. So that passport you take to each vendor if you want to enter our giveaways. And our giveaways are insane. They are literally insane. We have reverse osmosis water filtration system. We have an air doctor, which is like the big deal air filter. Yeah. It's really awesome. We have like non-toxic caraway pans, red light therapy, gift certificate, all kinds of things.
I am totally going. I want that air doctor.
I would like more.
Well, and see, it's things like this, though, where if you can take a moment and just go take a look at some of the other options that are out there, because it's all habit. We're used to going to the big box stores and just kind of getting what we're used to getting, but to do this in a community way is awesome.
Yep. So I'm trying to provide not only things that they can purchase, but also like all these really cool giveaways that are really sought after and help your health. I created a ultimate sleep basket that has like the wind down glasses and like this great sleep book that I give to everybody and magnesium spray, and it's just really cool. So
absolutely. Well, and while we have you here, let's talk about multi-care specialists and a little bit of what your office does, for the folks that are interested or maybe needing a different path forward in their health journey.
Yeah. Again, hats off to my dad for starting this model. He was really a pioneer by combining traditional medicine, so family practice in our office. We have chiropractic care, we have physical therapy, athletic training.
Wow.
We are really a one-stop shop.
I'm in.
Yeah. So you could come and you can get your labs ordered. If we need an MRI, we're ordering it. We have X-ray. We can treat you right there on the spot. You're going to be leaving our office feeling good. So we really have everything. We also do IV nutrient therapy. We also do.
Do you do IVs?
Yeah, we do. We also do PEMF mat and infrared mat. We do red light therapy. I mean, we have a lot to offer.
What if you have the millennials in your life that are just kind of, something's not adding up here. We aren't feeling as energized and need to figure out if it's like a vitamin level or if, just whatever is not balanced now. Do you guys do that type of work?
Yes. So I personally am very passionate about functional medicine, if that's not apparent. And so
No.
I would, dive into your lifestyle and try to figure out where there may be deficiencies and order labs accordingly. Because I love to show people their lab work and show what they're deficient in and watch the improvement. Like I love pre and post labs. So.
Well, and too, I mean, for like me anyway, it's like, well, you only lived off of energy drinks for 6 years and beef jerky, so you're probably
those gotta go. Those gotta go.
I'm doing better. I'm on week 3 of like only barely any energy drinks.
I see you have a hydration there. So
I got some water.
That's good. That's all you need. You just need some electrolytes, maybe some coffee.
Well, and I need you there May the 2nd for the Multi-Care Market, the annual Spring Multi-Care Market, 4 to 7 p.m. and the location for the physical is 3986 Maryville Road.
I got in a car accident at the ER. They gave me a prescription of hydrocodone, and over time, it took more medication to mask the pain. I moved over to drug seeking and found heroin and fentanyl. I went to the Centerstone rehab facility, and it was the best decision I ever made in my life. I have my own car. I have a job. There's nothing holding me back anymore.
Do you need to declutter your space? Time to call me, the Queen of Junk. Since 1993, we have grown to be the leader in residential, commercial, and property management junk removal. At Sparks Junk Removal, we are eco-friendly. We recycle, donate, or repurpose items back into our community. Trash is our last resort to the landfill. Plus, with our all-inclusive service, our crews handle everything from labor to lifting and landfill fees. Give us a call or visit our website, sparksjunkremoval.net, to reclaim your space today.
When you need a project done right, on budget and on time, trust Gillahan Concrete. Gillahan handles every kind of project, big and small. Commercial, industrial, residential, from room additions and garages to patios, driveways, and more. Gillahan brings quality and experience to every job. Family owned with over 30 years of service to our community. Call today at 618-781-3914 or visit GillahanConcrete.com.
Looking for the best barbecue in Madison County? Head over to Carver's Barbecue in Godfrey, Illinois. From loaded barbecue nachos to mouth-watering pulled pork, brisket, ribs, and more, Carver's serves up award-winning flavors you'll love. Family-owned, Carver's is all about fresh-made in-house dishes served daily. Come visit us at 2716 Groveland in Godfrey, or give us a call at 618-467-9999. Order online, get it catered, or stop by for the best smoked meats around. Where great flavors meet family tradition, you'll find Carver's Barbecue.
Have a rash, pink eye, or urinary tract infection and need care now? OSF On-Call Urgent Care is here to treat you. Start a virtual visit 24/7, whenever and wherever you need it. It's just that easy. osfoncall.org/virtual visit.
You're listening to Our Daily Show with CJ Nasello on RiverBender.com.
Welcome back, 1041. Brian, this is one of the first times you've been around on this side of the table.
Probably.
Yeah.
I'm usually bringing guests.
I'm glad to have you as the guest today, and really a couple of cool things to talk about. This pole recycling, I'm interested to know more about, and also I really am fascinated to talk to the Mylar balloons, because it's one of those things that it seems like at least once a year there's some story in the news cycle of one of these balloons causing some significant damage to the infrastructure.
Correct, right.
Well, and now let's start with this this pole recycling. So what can you fill us in on with this?
That's a great one because so we've been trying to recycle poles for 20 some years at Ameren on both sides of the river, Illinois and Missouri, but it was always really hard to find one vendor who could do that for us. And in Illinois, we partnered in 2022 with a company called Blackwood Solutions, and they go and pick up our broken poles, decommissioned poles at our 50 operating centers. And what they're able to do is they take all the hardware off for us, and they any of the environmentally friendly treatments that we have on there to keep bugs and rot, they take all that off, and then they recycle those poles, which is fantastic. So we're actually reducing our footprint in landfills.
Well, and see, that's what I was curious about. So before that, is that where the poles just went, was landfills?
Unfortunately, yeah. Again, over those 20 years, we'd have a little bit of a success, and then for whatever reasons, it just never stuck. So if you can imagine, literally on Easter Sunday, we had a car hit a pole in our neighborhood, and I was explaining to a group of friends that I was with last night. They go, "Hey, what happens to the pole?" I'm like, "Well, I'm going to be talking about that tomorrow on the radio, as a matter of fact, TV." And so, if a section of pole is 30 feet long, and it needs to, previously would just go into a dumpster. There we have an operating center here in Alton. It would go into the dumpster, and the landfill company would come and pick it up, and it would go there. So I would always tell people, if you see that pole, it's 30 feet long, it's taking up that exact footprint in a landfill. So with this partnership since 2022, we're diverting literally tons of wood waste every year.
Well, and the number that gets me is just, you're replacing on average 24,000 poles in that 2-state service area. So, because, one pole is large, but add 100 and then we have an issue, and then you add 1,000 and
right.
Man, you have a significant problem. What were some of the issues that led to, you said that it would never stick. What led to that? Was it just a volume thing for some of these facilities, or was it just, the way of the times for?
I think it was volume for one.
We easily can see that.
Yeah, and then, what were they going to do with it? Were they going to, have the time to put it into wood chips or whatever? And so this company that we work with does all of the above. They recycle it for farmers. For fence posts, you can reach out to them. You might go to a local park here in town and see actual power poles on the ground that kind of, that's the area where they're set up so you can park your car. So they're almost like the little, parking blocks.
Right.
Or they'll make them into wood chips.
That's really cool, though. I wouldn't even have thought about what happens afterwards, because I can only imagine, some of the days that you guys have over there, with how many poles that are getting damaged and need replaced.
Right.
Do you have like a number or ballpark of like per day, or like what that would look like for you guys? Because to me, it seems like it comes in waves where it'd be nothing, and then boom, you have all this happen.
So, the 24,000 number that you referenced, so that poles can be, we recycle them 3 different ways. One is if they're involved in an accident, which just happened in my neighborhood, and a pole gets hit by a vehicle and it's broken and we need to do something with that broken pole. It could be as simple as it's reached the end of its useful life for us. We have a robust pole inspection program that if you go into a neighborhood, you might see something that looks like a silver dollar on a pole, and that's marking and saying, hey, it's been inspected by somebody within Ameren, and this pole still has plenty of life to it. Or, as most people probably think of poles being damaged, it's through storms.
Yeah.
And we've had some pretty intense weather. I'll just use that word. I'd like to use other words, but this is a family program, so I won't use those words. But so we've had lots of poles damaged this year. So those are the reasons why we go and replace about 24,000 poles on average every year on both states.
So since the program's inception, just from reading a little bit, 5,500 tons of wood waste is recycled, which would be the equivalent to 22 787 passenger planes. That is, to me, is just an absorbent amount of weight, and also just debris that, you're just, like you said, taking up from the landfill.
Right, correct.
Wow. So now, how long does this program go? Are you guys on like a contract with them, or like a 5-year, or do you see this ever slowing down?
I don't see it ever slowing down. The funny part is, and I got to be careful the way I say this.
Right.
So with Blackwood Solutions, I mentioned the farmers. So what they do is the poles that can be recycled into fence posts, they actually give those away for free to farmers.
Wow.
The only caveat is there's such a back order now that, I mean, they're like 18 to 24 months behind because there's such a demand for free. But this is, one of the ways that they're keeping those poles out of landfills. So that's really, really cool to see that. And
that is really cool.
Yeah.
Well, and too, could you imagine if you were the guy that got the jump on the pole, before everyone else did? So they're waiting 18 months and your fence is already lined up and done. Well, I like the fact that there's so many different ways to utilize these too, because, I mean, honestly, you drive by them and you don't think much of it because it's something we've just seen our entire lives. But to know it's being recycled into, chips or going into fences, I mean, and really helping area farmers, that's really a big thing. And was that something that they did on their own, or that so that's really cool.
Yeah, that was another really neat part of the partnership, is that they were actually going to do something with the poles, not profit from them, by giving them away free as fence posts, and then again, the parking blocks and the wood chips.
Now, this is a silly question, I think, but do you guys ever foresee the wood power pole getting altered?
Good question. I don't want to bore you with too many geeky details, but it takes 40 years for a pole, or it takes 40 years for a tree to mature, and there's only certain kinds of trees. Southern pines are the best to become power poles. And most of those are grown down south in Alabama. There'll always be a need for them. But I can tell you that, we have noticed, in order to strengthen our system, we call it storm hardening, we're using a lot more composite fiberglass poles.
Wow.
But they're much stronger. They actually can withstand high winds. They are designed to, if your viewers can see my hand moving, that's actually a pole is designed to sway. They are probably 3 times more expensive than a wooden pole. So, but we use those strategically. In fact, if you drive along the river road, you might see a few of them.
It makes sense with the trees and the debris and everything.
Yeah, so so we use quite a bit of those. But there, we have more than 50,000 miles of power lines that crisscross our Ameren service territory. So the short answer is, yes, we're always going to have a need for wooden power poles.
It's interesting. Well, I mean, just to hear some of the volume on this, too, is just really fascinating, too, Brian. And before we take a break and come back and talk about Mylar balloons, and this is one that I really find fascinating, what should the public know about this pole recycle program?
I mean, again, just doing what we can to be good environmental stewards by, diverting as much wood waste as possible. I'm going to be hesitant. I don't want to give out any information about Blackwood because I don't want a bunch of people calling them, even though they would probably like it. I just don't want to frustrate anybody by, I'll get on the 2-year or 3-year waiting list. So, but I mean, you can learn all about the different things that Ameren does in its recycling program through we recycle transformers, all that sort of stuff. If you're interested, you can just go to AmerenIllinois.com and go under our environmental section and learn all kinds of things that we do.
Really cool. Hey, we'll take a quick break. We'll come back with Brian, and we're going to talk a little bit more about Mylar balloons, because every year, like I was just saying, we always see the stories that come out and just some of the destruction. I mean, it truly does cause, and some of the other nuances to it. We'll take a quick break. Only 64 degrees out there. Man, a little chilly today.
When I got in the car accident at the ER, they gave me a prescription of hydrocodone, and over time it took more medication to mask the pain. I moved over to drug seeking and found heroin and fentanyl. I went to the Centerstone rehab facility, and it was the best decision I ever made in my life. I have my own car, I have a job, there's nothing holding me back anymore.
Do you need to declutter your space? Time to call me, the Queen of Junk. Since 1993, we have grown to be the leader in residential, commercial, and property management junk removal. At Sparks Junk Removal, we are eco-friendly. We recycle, donate, or repurpose items back into our community. Trash is our last resort to the landfill. Plus, with our all-inclusive service, our crews handle everything from labor to lifting and landfill fees. Give us a call or visit our website, sparksjunkremoval.net, to reclaim your space today.
When you need a project done right, on budget and on time, trust Gillahan Concrete. Gillahan handles every kind of project, big and small. Commercial, industrial, residential, from room additions and garages to patios, driveways, and more. Gillahan brings quality and experience to every job. Family owned with over 30 years of service to our community. Call today at 618-781-3914 or visit GillahanConcrete.com.
Looking for the best barbecue in Madison County? Head over to Carver's Barbecue in Godfrey, Illinois. From loaded barbecue nachos to mouth-watering pulled pork, brisket, ribs, and more, Carver's serves up award-winning flavors you'll love. Family-owned, Carver's is all about fresh, made in-house dishes served daily. Come visit us at 2716 Groveland in Godfrey, or give us a call at 618-467-9999. Order online, get it catered, or stop by for the best smoked meats around. Where great flavors meet family tradition, you'll find Carver's Barbecue.
Have a rash, pink eye, or urinary tract infection and need care now? OSF On-Call Urgent Care is here to treat you. Start a virtual visit 24/7, whenever and wherever you need it. It's just that easy. OSFOnCall.org/virtual visit.
You're listening to Our Daily Show with CJ Nasello on RiverBender.com.
.10:53, welcome back. Brian back in the studio with us. My allergies and voice barely hanging on. But, you know, this is the one with Ameren I was so excited to talk about because it's one that we would literally cover every year over in the radio station in St. Louis. And even here we see that the stories, these Mylar balloons. And it's one of those where they look nice and, you know, they're always a part of the celebrations, but they leave widespread, you know, damage and also, I mean, a lot of, you know, inconveniences to thousands of people potentially once these, you know, kind of get lost in the air.
Right. And let me start out, and you're going to laugh when I say this, but Ameren is not the balloon police. I just want to start. We want people to celebrate. Okay.
I knew that truck was driving around my house when we had that party, Brian.
Yeah, exactly. We do want you to celebrate. We just want you to properly dispose of your balloons, especially the Mylar ones. And so, what the issue is with the Mylar balloons is there's a metallic coating on the balloons, and when they're released, if they come in contact with power lines or anywhere in a substation, that metal property on the balloon can come in contact with an energized area. It can go around the balloon, spark, arc, and then if it pops and the debris goes into our system, then it can cause an outage. And when I'm saying an outage, I mean, we've had them as small as like 70, 80 in the Metro East. We've had as many as like 2,500 to 3,000 on the campus of U of I a couple of years ago during a graduation celebration. And so they do happen, and they happen not only in Illinois and Missouri, but all across the United States.
Well, and this is just incredible to me. So, I mean, what sort of outages have these caused just recently?
We'll start really seeing a spike just because of the time of the year. We're getting into graduation season. So for us, you know, the numbers I shared are like I think last couple of years, we've had over 100 outages just in our service territory, and the number of hours and minutes is just, you know, inconvenience for our customers.
An average duration, I mean, listen, 111 minutes, and it impacted 14,000 people and 170 events.
Right.
That's a little astounding to me. And I mean, just like this in Granite, I mean, on June 19th, you got 1,000 people had to eat lunch in the dark when Mylar balloons floated into a nearby line. It was a 90-minute outage.
Yeah.
Well, what's that cause on the stresses of, you know, an Ameren response team, especially when it, you know, comes to this time of the year where you guys are managing everything else, plus now we got to watch for balloons.
Right. So a couple of things. One is that, you know, we got to put our guys up into the energized zone to remove that property that if it's exploded onto the system, and it does explode. And it leaves a gooey residue.
Wow!
So, we're putting them in harm's way. And then the other thing, I wish I could take credit for this. Was a former vice president of our operations. He has granddaughters, and he said when those metallic properties explode onto the system, it's like removing gum from a child's hair. We really have to go in and get everything out of there, because even if we leave just the smallest little of metallic material, as soon as we re-energize that could arc back and forth, and that leftover property can cause another outage all over again, even though we've already removed the balloons if we think that we've got it all and we didn't. So it does make a tremendous mess.
This is just incredible. I mean, there's 3 different instances I'm looking at. One for over 4 hours without power. Mm-hmm. And if I found out what birthday party that was, right?
Well, yeah.
It's one of those things though. And like you said, during, in Champaign-Urbana, 1,200 for 3 hours.
Yeah.
And that's all due to just simple balloons. And now, do rubber balloons, do they still cause the same amount of, damage that a Mylar balloon does? Can particles still get into your system that way too?
Great question. So there is a difference. So we don't like any balloons being released. The difference is the rubber balloons will not come in contact, and they won't cause any outages in terms of, the wind will blow them, but there won't be any sparks and there won't be any material that, sticks to it. Mm-hmm. We still don't want you to release those rubber balloons, because our guys still have to go up into the energized zone and put themselves in harm's way.
Big time.
To remove the balloons. Or if it's in a situation where it's large enough, unfortunately, we're going to have to take an outage just to remove the rubber balloon. So either or, we're just asking people, celebrate. Again, we're not the balloon police.
Right.
And just, keep them tethered.
I just keep thinking that eventually these are going to go away, because what they're doing to wildlife and everything else, and they're nice and it looks cool, but just the damage alone, because I don't even know how you'd begin to manage a power line or transfer whatever you have that's arcing, and you have all these different. That's a very scary situation.
Right. You can go out onto YouTube and you can certainly see celebrations of. We've seen elected officials release balloons and have them literally fly and go across a parking lot, and you can see the explosion and see all the lights go out. It is real. You don't think about it. And then the other thing that a lot of people don't realize is that you can be right here in downtown Alton at the Riverbender headquarters here and release balloons. The wind might be blowing, and they may blow down into Wood River. They could blow down into Edwardsville. So the balloons will float for a while. That helium, after a while, is going to lose its luster, and then they're going to start coming down. That's when we see a lot of the outages that way as well.
Let's say, I held a big old, family gathering or graduation, and we're out at the, park or whatever, and we release these balloons, and it comes from our balloon. Does the customer get held responsible for putting 1,400 people without power? How does that work? I'm sure it'd be tough, but is there any accountability there?
It would be tough. I don't know if there's really any accountability. The only way that we would maybe know that it was your balloons is if it had, CJ's birthday party on it or something like that. So the odds of us actually knowing who released the balloons or not. I've never had a situation where we said, okay, it's a Mylar balloon outage, and we do on all of our information that we keep about outages, we do have a special section that's noted that says it's a Mylar balloon outage. So if you would happen to call me, say this weekend, and there was an outage in Alton, sometimes I can tell you, it was the wind, it was a car. I can actually now tell people since 2022, this was definitely the cause of a Mylar balloon release.
That's really cool too, to know that you have that much detail on your systems for your customers and internal too. Do you have to hire more people, or do you have more on staff during when these things happen, or is it just one of those where it's the machine of Ameren that you guys just keep rocking and rolling?
It's we try to train our line workers for just about anything, and unfortunately every time we say we've seen it all, we don't. So
see, this is really fascinating, because before we say goodbye for now, we do have some tips to keep people safe from these, or just, keep things in mind. And one of them I wanted to ask you about, then I'll ask you for the some of your other thoughts, is, because we have the rubber balloon, and then someone might tie some ribbon on that rubber balloon, and then the rubber balloon flies away, and then that metallic ribbon, if it is one, could still cause problems.
Correct.
That's fascinating. So what should we kind of keep in mind when we're having these outdoor events?
So I'll give you one that is something that you may not even think about. This is if you have neighbor kids, you have kids of your own, you have grandkids. The big thing that we see a lot of times too at parties is, somebody will tie the balloon to, Johnny or Susie's arm, and then you watch them run around. Just be wary especially if you're in a backyard celebrating. Make sure you know where your service drop comes in from the pole.
Oh,
you don't want somebody to be running around and have that balloon come in contact with something.
Yeah.
So that's a pro tip. And then the other thing is, again, we don't want to be the balloon police. I know I've said that several times. We want people to celebrate. Keep them tethered. Do pop them like you said, because whether they're rubber, whether they're metallic, not only do they cause issues for Ameren in the system, but it also, later on when they come down, if they land in areas of water or whatever, now there's all kinds of wildlife that you see gets entangled or eats something that they're not supposed to. And so it really does, have some other issues. But again, we're not telling people not to celebrate.
Or just get drones. Hey,
that's the new thing. That looks cool too with the lights and stuff.
That's what I'm saying. Go ahead and just do a drone show.
There you go.
Brian, it's always good talking to you, and thanks for sharing with us some important stuff from Ameren today.
Absolutely.
We'll be out of time in just about 10 seconds, but it's been great talking to you. We're out of here. One more day. Friday is almost here, my friends. We got the Kentucky Derby coming down the pipeline and so much more. Friday's show's full. I hope you join me then, and until then, try your best to stay out of jail.